afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spotlight with Sahara Ramkissoon. Today, I'm in the office of somebody that I truly admire, Dr. David Lee, Minister of Housing and Member of Parliament for Carrie Central. Dr. Lee, how are you doing today?
It's a pleasure, Sarah. Let me shake your hand this
Thank you so much.
This afternoon.
Yes. Now, let's start the interview with something simple yet meaningful. Dr. Lee, could you share a bit about your childhood? What was life like for you growing up?
Well, life for me growing up is I would say, very simple. I grew up in the community of Bigger Martin, where we call Green Hill Village. I went to Bigger Martin Boys RC, and then after that I went to St. Mary's College, better known as CIC in Port Spain. And then after that I worked for about a year. And after that, I went on to university in New York, and I did my bachelor's in finance and accounting, and I did my master's also in finance and accounting. And then I came back home, and I started my career as a young graduate at the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. For my career there lasted for about 15 years. And during that time at the Central Bank, it was one of the great experiences of a young graduate coming back and joining the workforce. It was an experience second to none in my view at Central Bank. It laid the foundation for my career and my success later on in life.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's so important for young people to hear where our leaders started. It reminds us that everyone has a beginning. On to my next question. When you were 12 years old like me, did you imagine that your life would turn out this way?
At 12 years old, I think I would be preparing for common entrance. In my days, we supported common entrance. Today is another, I think they call it CSEC, SCA. I'm still trying to get a handle on that. At 12 years old, I was still pitching marbles, spinning top in Bigger Martin and Bigger Martin Boys RC. Never knew what my life would be. I always gave trouble at school. I will tell you, I never liked school. I never liked school.
People agree with you on that.
Even at university, I did not, while I enjoyed it, I saw it as a means to an end, meaning that for me to go further in life, I had to fulfill that university tertiary education aspect to be able to go on to greater things. And that served me in good stead today. So it was a means for me to move up in life. But I will tell you, I never enjoyed school. It was part of my life. You know, they would hear school days are your best days in life. I never really agree with that. So I disagree when people say school. I have some good times at school. I made great friends, but I never enjoyed school.
That's truly amazing, I would say. It shows us that life can take us in unexpected, still meaningful, like unexpected yet meaningful directions, I would say.
I just want to add, while at school, whether it is at primary school, secondary school, I got licks throughout my career. So I got licks even at Form 5. I got licks. That's to tell you how bad I was in school.
On to my next question. Who was someone you looked up to as a child or a teenager, and why?
I would say my mother. And today, I still look up to my mother. My mother is 92 years old. She still has her full senses. She still is in control of me, even though I'm that much older. And I'm a minister of housing. That's right. Even though I'm still a minister of housing, I'm a minister. She still tells me what I can do and cannot do. So I would say throughout my life, I looked up to my mother. And during my early formative years, you know, as young kids, you always feel parents are there just scold you and they don't have your best interests at heart. But I must say my mother was very liberal with me. While she ruled with a big stick, I got a lot of licks from her. When I became a teenager, she sort of made me an independent person I am today, but she still rules my life.
That's really inspiring. I think that having role models can really help shape our dreams and values drastically. Let's shift a little and talk about being a leader. What does being a leader mean to you, not just in government, but in everyday life?
I think being a leader in everyday life is about helping people. I think has always been my passion. I think that's how I was brought up with my mother. I always remember at our home growing up, and it stayed with me today and it shaped and molded me into the person I am. No matter what individual comes to our home, whether it is a handy person, someone to fix the bathroom or to fix a plumbing issue, or the individual who is painting or the individual who's cutting the grass, the first thing my mother always was, as they enter, make sure that they have a meal. Alright, so before they start to work. And that stuck out with me. It shows the caring person, my mother, no matter who they were, what strata of life they belong to. It was always a meal, that they have to have a meal before they start work.
That right there is wisdom.
And that has made me and shaped me into the person I am today, in really trying to help people throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And that's the bottom line, is about molding and shaping and trying to leave your legacy, your life, your mark in the world, and how you help people in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what I am about.
Like I said, that right there is wisdom. That truly makes me think that leadership isn't about titles. It's about how we treat other people.
That's true.
On to my next question. What's one value or principle that has guided you throughout this journey?
One, praise. Again, I have to go back to my childhood. I remember from an early age, and that's why I always gave trouble. I'm a Catholic. From an early age, we used to go to church, we still go to church. I used to go to church with my mother and my sister at the Catholic church in Diego Martin. I remember when I was about 4 years, 5 years, one of the issues me, I could never stay quiet. So we are in church, and my mother told to keep me quiet in the church. She would put a belt in a bag and carry it to church. And when I'm starting to jump around or want to walk around in the church, she would just show me the bag, and I go inside that bag with a belt. Alright, so that shaped me in the discipline that I have and the way forward. So I say prayers, and I say, like, what shaped me is really church, prayers. I would say I'm not a godly person. I think I have a well-balanced individual as far as religion is concerned. I respect all religions, and I admire all religions, but at the end of the day, prayers and the church has kept me grounded in the person I am. And that has been true how my life was shaped coming up as a young person.
Wow, that's just so powerful. Holding on to values and principles like that really help us stay grounded. I think. Dr. Lee, can you tell us about a time when you faced a challenge and how you overcame it? Through life, my life, I have many challenges. Politics is a challenge. Day-to-day life is a challenge. And if there's one thing that I would say was that really
played a mental part in my life, and a challenge was I had back surgery. Alright, I had back surgery during COVID. Alright, and I didn't cater to have surgery. Just that a couple of days, I would get up and I would be constant pain in my left leg, running down my left leg. And, I consulted with a good doctor friend of mine, and they said that the only way out was surgery. Right? And I really, you don't cater for surgery on your back. You don't know what will happen to you coming out with surgery. But God is good, as I said. And again, I go back to my prayers, and I literally, prayed, and I left it up to the Lord to decide how I would come through the surgery. So that was one of the most challenging times in my life, because while you go into surgery and you'll be under anesthesia, and you don't know, especially the surgery on your back, on your spine, how you will come out of the surgery when you wake up. You will wake up, but you don't know
What would happen?
what will happen, what could happen during surgery and so forth. So I must say I had two good surgeon friends who are personal friends. They did the surgery. A lot of precautions were taken, and God is so good that I went into surgery at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I was out of the hospital the next day at 2 p.m. walking. Right? So I think while the end result was very positive, the build up to the surgery was the most trying time in my life, because it would have taken about 2 weeks before that surgery was done. But that 2 weeks of not knowing and unanticipating what could happen to you after surgery was the most traumatic time mentally for me as a person.
Thank you for being so transparent about that. I think stories like that give us courage when we face challenges of our own.
That's right. And it made me a stronger person. So I did the surgery in Trinidad. So that's why I said I have some good friends who are surgeons, and I was very confident they would do a good job, but you never know what can happen. So we have some of the best doctors in Trinidad and Tobago.
I know that. Now it's time for a halftime icebreaker question, where we get to know our interviewees. So you walk into an ice cream shop. What's your go-to order, and do you prefer a cup or a cone? I'm more of a cup person myself, but what do you like?
I'm a cup person. I love ice cream.
Yes.
Actually, a time in my life, I had owned an ice cream shop.
Oh, wow.
Right? I had owned, at the time, there was a craze in Trinidad, gelato ice cream. I don't know if you ever had that.
I never had it.
Right. So it's an Italian type of ice cream. And, one of my ventures, I had owned a cafe with a nice gelato ice cream. But by and large, what's my favorite ice cream in Trinidad? It's called Flavor Right ice cream.
Yes.
So it was off the market for a while. And
it recently came back.
It recently came back,
Yes.
you're correct. And the best flavor I think is orange pie.
Oh my goodness. That, next to golden vanilla, that is my favorite.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true. So you see, we have things in common.
Great minds do
And that's the only ice cream that I purchase now, Flavor Right ice cream.
So
I like the little small cups, and I buy several flavors,
yes.
and that's my treat for myself.
That's correct. You answered that one correctly. On to something a bit deeper. What advice would you give to a child or teenager who wants to make a difference in their school or community?
That's a tough question. I wouldn't give advice to any children. I'll tell you why. I wouldn't allow the child to grow, to blossom to find their own way. You're there to nurture them, you're there to guide them. I would not try to impose anything on children. You're there to advise, guide, as I say, and mold. But I wouldn't, children at a certain age needs to develop, they need to, as I say, blossom and grow on their own, right? And that's what parents are. I was fortunate enough to have a mother like that, who allowed me and my sister to develop on our own. She was there to guide us. She was very rigid, very strong, but she had a way of allowing us to develop and have our own independence. And that is where you must have faith in your life, you must have God in your life. And that's one of the strengths and the positives I think all parents should do with children, to ensure that they attend some sort of religious organization. It shapes the children, and they will always remember that growing up. I mean, you might not enjoy it at that point in time, but at a point in time in your adult life, you'll always go back and understand the wisdom of your parents when they told you to do certain things.
That's some really great advice, I think. It shows that no matter how young somebody is, we can all make a difference no matter what we do.
I totally agree with that.
Dr. Lee, why is kindness and respect important when working with people in your own ways?
That's a very good question. For you to want to be respected, you also have to respect people.
Yes.
If you want kindness from people, you have to show kindness. I think as a society, we have lost our way in respect of showing respect to people. And just in normal common courtesies of good morning, how are you, thank you, and really mean it has gone out the window. And I think we need to bring that back in our school system. I remember going to school and we used to start off with a prayer. I don't know if that still exists today at school. And even at school, and before you start, simple things of exercising. We used to raise our hand, put it up, put it down, just a stretch. Those little things, I remember those things in primary school. And really and truly, to get back to your question of respect and kindness, I think we need to relearn that. We have lost that as a people in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think we need to bring that back. And the young people like yourselves, and you're a role model. I remember first meeting at Starbucks in South Park, and you were brave enough to come up to me. And life is so funny, right, Sarah? At a point in time, I was the MP for Point in opposition, but you still saw me as someone that you would like to meet, right? Not too many people would like to meet an opposition MP. Right? And you lived in Cary Central, and God would have it that I am now your member of Parliament for Cary Central, and we met on the campaign trail again, and I remember that day. And I didn't know where you lived, and their fate would have it that we would find each other again. So, life journey and the journey in life is it is filled with unexpected expectations, challenges. Sometimes you never know where life will carry you. And I don't know I never thought I would be where I am today as a politician. I never, seek that in life. I started off my career in banking, as I said, in Central Bank. I went into private business, very successful. And then I ended up in politics, and if you ask me how, I will tell you I don't know. Maybe it is by fate. God has put me here to do some good for the people, and I think that is what I am here for. That maybe it's my calling at this stage in my life, and I will try to do the best to make to change the lives of people of Trinidad.
I think that's something that I will definitely always remember. Because what you said in the beginning of your statement, how you said kindness is like two-way, I would say. It reminded me of one of my favorite quotes, loyalty is a two-way street. If I can't remember the exact thing, but I think it went something like, if I get something from you, you have to get something from me.
It's just like if you want to be respected, you have to earn respect. You have to treat the person with the same respect that you would like to be respected and be treated. So it's a two-way street.
Kindness really is a superpower.
That's right. I agree. And you get so much more done when you show kindness and you show respect to people.
Now, to my next question. What do you believe young people should focus on if they want to become great leaders one day like you?
I think they should focus on your education. You should focus on the traditional thing, your education. You can read books of great leaders and so forth. But really and truly, it comes back to your question before. It's about kindness and respect and fairness and how you treat people. Right? And also, you look like you have the right attributes to be a good leader. You're a people person, right? And it looks like it comes naturally for you, all right, to be that people person. I'm learning it. I'm still learning it. It takes, but at your age, I think I can see great things happening in your life.
That is such helpful guidance. I saw that almost like planting seeds now for the future that we want to grow.
I agree.
And that is actually a perfect setup for my next question. What helps you stay focused and positive when life gets tough?
What helps me stay focused? Television.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Sometimes when things are tough for me, I go to my television and I look at a movie. I try to recollect my thoughts.
Parents can't say anything.
No, I like to look at television. That is my comfort zone. Alright? And I don't want to hear anybody talk to me. Alright? So it's nothing fancy. I don't have any magic. But I know when I'm under pressure and I go to a good television show or, and recollect my thoughts and get back my inner being.
Yeah, that's a really helpful reminder.
Some people tell you to go and look at the mountains or I'm more real. I like to watch the television.
Yes, I like how you're being so honest about this. That's a really helpful
A good action movie will bring you back to reality.
Yes. That's a really helpful reminder. I too think that staying positive makes all the difference. And now, parents who are watching this, they have no say in children watching television. Yes. That brings me to my next question. Speaking of that, do you have a favorite book, quote, or saying that motivates you? And if so, A, what is that? And B, if it is a book, should the newer generation read it?
I will be honest with you, I don't have a book, I don't have a quote, I don't have a saying. Right?
Okay, well.
Right? That's a nice question, right? And people tell you, well, I read Animal Farm and I live on Animal Farm. We all read books and to grow in life you need to read. I'm all for reading books as much as you can read, do it. But as far as I am telling you or your viewers that I have a particular book I like and I refer to, I will be dishonest to tell you that. Alright? Because I'm real. There are so many things that you come across in life and that you will go back to. Some people tell you the Bible. I will tell you, I've read the Bible, but You know, it's one of many books that I will refer to, but I don't have a go-to book that I want to say I have a go-to book.
Okay.
When I'm in trouble, I will read the Bible. When I'm happy, I will read a particular book. When I'm sad, I will read a particular book. But I don't have a go-to book or go-to saying or go-to motivation.
Honestly, me neither. I was gonna say something like, yeah, I like this one. Honestly,
You see, that's what everybody says, right? If you listen to interviews, everybody will tell you, I have a go-to book, and my book is this, and my book is that.
like a classic.
But I don't think they're being honest.
I wouldn't want to make
I would not want to be dishonest to you in this interview.
Thank you so much. And that brings me to the last question. If you could write a short message to all the children watching this, what would you say to them from your heart?
What I would say to them, I would say, really follow your dream. As hard as it might be, try and understand or listen to your parents and try to understand what they are saying. Not every time you'll understand the goodness that they are trying to do for you. But remember it. Sometimes it might not be pleasant, but by and large, I would say to children, listen to their parents. Let your parents be your mentor.
Yes.
And your life will be good.
Thank you so much for those completely honest words. I know a lot of children who are watching this will take that to heart, including myself. And that brings us to the end of the first episode of Spotlight with Sahara Ramkissoon. Dr. Lee, I would like to thank you for accepting me to come into your office and do this interview. It has been amazing.
I want to thank you, Sarah, for being your first guest on your first Spotlight interview. I must say that I'm very, very impressed with you. I remember our meeting, as I said earlier on, an interview in South Park at Starbucks. I thought I was elated. I think I went back and told someone that, actually somebody asked me, and they were elated to meet me, right? And I was happy. And then we met again, and I'm elated by being interviewed by you. For someone as young as yourself, to have the confidence in what you're doing here today, it bodes well for the young people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm sure when I look at you in the next 5-6 years, I'm sure I will see great things for you. And that's what I see for you. And keep up the good work. You're doing terrific. You have great parents. You have a fantastic little sister there who will be just as right as you.
Yes.
And I only see good things for you and greatness for you. So thank you so much for being part of your community.
Thank you as well. And that is a wrap on the first episode of Spotlight with Sahara Ramkissoon. To all of the children watching this, stay curious, stay courageous, and stay in the spotlight. And just remember, in the words of Dr. David Lee, TV solves everything. Bye!